Senator Boyd, Senator Brannick, Senator Chazanall, Senator Chisholm, Senator DeBar, Senator Delano, Senator England, Senator Fillingane, Senator Frazier, Senator Harkins, Senator Hickman,
Here.
Senator Hill, Senator Hobson, Senator Horn, Senator Jackson, Senator Johnson, Senator Jordan, Senator Kirby, Senator Ladner, Senator McCon, Senator McClendon, Senator McMahon, Senator Michelle, Senator Norwood, Senator Parker, Senator Parks, Senator Polk, Senator Rhodes, Senator Robinson, Senator Seymour, Senator Simmons of the 12th, Senator Simmons of the 13th, Senator Sparks, Senator Suber, Senator Tate, Senator Thomas, Senator Thompson, Senator Turner Ford, Senator Whaley, Senator Wiggins, Senator Williams, Senator Younger. Mr. President, a quorum is present.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Will senators and guests in the gallery please rise for the invocation to be given by Senior Pastor James Young, who is of Calvary Apostolic Faith Church in Louisville, Mississippi. As the guests of Senator Branning and Senator Hickman, invocation be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by Senator Hickman. Pastor Young.
I want to say good morning to this great company and great leaders of our state. Within these walls, whatever you all do affects everyone in the state of Mississippi. So I'm honored to be here as an invitee of Senator Hickman. And as we bow our heads to pray today, let's remember why God created us to be where we are. Jesus, as we come before you this morning, we're asking that you keep your loving arms around these men and women who make these decisions for us. We need you now more than ever to keep our minds and our hearts in the right place. Help us to remember that you have called us to do a service, not a service of ourselves, but a service of the people. We thank you now, O God, for giving this opportunity, for we have a rare time and a rare season to be as productive as we can be for you. We want to thank you for this state. We want to thank you for this nation. And we want to thank you for the leaders that we have making the decisions, oh God, that guides us in the right direction. So as we begin today, and as they open up the books and look at the bills that must be passed, let them remember you first. Let them speak to you first, oh God. And I know when you guide our hearts and our minds, the decisions will be solid, that will be based on truth and righteousness. We said thank you today for life, health, and strength in this community, for being born in the greatest country in America and living in a great state. We give you praise right now. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Please recite the pledge for me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor. Get here. Let's get a picture. Come on this side. Let's get one.
And Governor, I forgot to tell you this. Also, there's yeah. Oh, yes, please get it.
Thank you, Pastor Young is also Mayor Young of of Louisville, and we're glad to have him, Philadelphia, and glad to have him with us today. Thank you, Senator Hickman. Thank you, Senator Branning. Senator Polk, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate dispense with the reading of the journal.
Senator moves to dispense with the reading of the journal. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Message and petitions, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. President, there are none.
Committee reports, Senator Polk, you're recognized.
Mr. President, I move the Senate dispense with the reading of the committee reports.
Senator moves to dispense with the reading of committee reports. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Next, the reading of the titles of bills and resolutions. I recognize Senator Polk.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate dispense with the reading of the titles of the bills and resolutions.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Thank you, Senator Polk. We'll go to introduction of guests. Introduction, Senate. Senator Williams, you're recognized for introduction, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. In the West Gallery, I'd like to ask these young people to stand from the Golden Triangle Mississippi Youth Council. They are John Robert Walker, Samar Rahimi, Mackenzie McLeod, Petra Herman, and Nigel Austin. Let's give them a Senate welcome. Y'all stand for us. Thank you very much.
Senator England, you're recognized for an introduction, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senators, I looked up in the North Gallery today and saw one of my best friends from high school, Mr. Justin Strickler, who went off to the Naval Academy, graduated, and is now with the Army Corps of Engineers in Vicksburg. Justin, I'm glad you're here today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good to have you here, Senator Barrett.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. With us today in the South Gallery, we have North Pike High School Student Council, Student Government, and they are with Miss Angie Woodcock and Melanie Wallace. If y'all will please stand so we can make y'all feel welcome.
Welcome. We're glad you're here. Welcome to your Senate. Senator Tate, you're recognized for an introduction, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, if you'll direct your attention to the North Gallery, we have with us the State Game Athletes of the Year. We have the Youth State Athlete of the Year, Zariah Clark, the Female State Athlete of the Year, Cheryl West, and for a second recognition, we have the Male Athlete of the Year, Justin Strickler. If y'all will, please make them feel welcome.
Congratulations. Senator Norwood, you're recognized for introduction, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have representing here today the Teen Advocacy Council, the Mississippi Coalition Against Domestic Violence, the Youth Council Advocacy for Youth Council Advocacy Day, and these are young folks from across our state. If they will stand all across, and then let's make the Senate make them feel welcome. Thank you very much.
Senator Hickman, you're recognized for introduction, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have two introductions today. If you would look over in the South Gallery, I'm going to ask that the governor's pages would please stand. They're here with us today. Very special introduction on behalf of myself, Senator Tate from Lauderdale County. Paging for the governor is John Clayton Kitchen. Make them feel welcome today. Mr. President, my second introduction would be here with us today is the Mississippi Youth Council. They're from all across the state of Mississippi. If you guys would please stand. Very special there on behalf of myself and Senator Branning from Winston County is Nigel Austin. So please make them feel welcome today. They wanted us to remind you that all legislators are invited to a legislative luncheon at 11:30 a.m. at the Capitol Club today. Thank you.
Senator Ladden, you're recognized for introduction, sir.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. On behalf of me and Senator Thompson, I'd like to introduce in the North Gallery Tish Williams, Star Chapman, Janice Godove from Hancock County Chambers, here with NASA. Please give her a welcome. Thank you.
Good to see you, Star. She's everywhere. Senator Simmons.
Introduction, Mr. President.
Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. Also here with the Mississippi Youth Council group is Jakayla Heiner and also some of the students from Greenville. If you all will stay in and let the Senate make you all feel welcome.
Senator Blunt, you're recognized for introduction, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to ask the Senate to make welcome from the Mississippi Coalition Against Domestic Violence, the Teen Advisory Council. I think they're here in the West Gallery. They're going to be in room 114 today from 10 to 11. These are young people interested in preventing domestic violence in our state. Let's make them welcome.
Thank you. Senator Johnson, you're recognized for introduction, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. Today, our doctor of the day is from Hattiesburg. He's a friend of mine, Dr. John Gaudet. With him is our two students at William Carey DO School. We have Eric Warren and Prit Patel. Please make them welcome.
Okay. Any others? Any others? Okay. Senator Thompson, you're recognized for a special introduction, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. At this time, I'd like to request 4 privileges for our guests from NASA, including Acting Center Director, Mr. John Bailey, and astronaut, Mr. Mark Vande Hei.
Privileges are granted. Sergeant at Arms, please escort the guests to the chamber floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd request that the proclamation be read.
Mr. Clerk, please read the proclamation.
Mississippi State Senate, Lieutenant Governor C. Delbert Hosemann Jr. is President of the Senate, and Senators Mike Thompson, Joe Carter, Jeremy England, Scott Delano, Angela Hill, Dennis DeBar Jr., Bryce Wiggins, and Philman Ladner extend the greetings of the Mississippi Senate to the Senate Space Center Senior Leadership Team. Whereas the National Aeronautics and Space Administration is America's civil space program and the global leader in space exploration at its 20 centers and facilities across the country, including its leading facility at the Stennis Space Center in Hancock County, Mississippi. NASA's study Earth, including the climate, our sun, and our solar system and beyond. They conduct research, testing, and development to advance aeronautics, including electric propulsion and supersonic flight. Whereas Mark T. Vande Hei, NASA astronaut and retired U.S. Army colonel, was selected by NASA in 2009. After extending the record for the longest single space flight in history by an American to 355 days, NASA astronaut Mark Vande Hei returned to Earth in March 2022. And whereas John Bailey serves as Acting Career Center Director of NASA's Center Space Center near Base St. Louis, Mississippi. Bailey provides executive leadership, overall direction, and management of the center. He is responsible for implementing NASA's mission in rocket propulsion testing and for developing and maintaining NASA's world-class rocket propulsion test facilities. Whereas Kenneth Newman is serving as the Acting Executive Director of the NASA Shared Services Center in Hancock County, Mississippi. He is responsible for all personnel, project management, contractor operations, service delivery, budget, and the customer experience. Whereas Rodney McKellop serves as Associate Director of the NASA John C. Stennis Space Center. With the Director, he provides leadership and coordinates NASA's rocket propulsion testing capabilities and Stennis Space Center's role in the agency's technology programs. Whereas it is with great pride that we recognize the NASA Stennis Space Center senior leadership team and the contributions of the center to the economy of the state of Mississippi. Now, therefore, the Lieutenant Governor, C. Delbert Hosemann Jr., as President of the Senate, and Senators Mike Thompson, Joel Carter, Jeremy England, Scott Delano, Angela Hill, Dennis DeBar Jr., Bryce Wiggins, and Philman Ladner do hereby extend the greetings of the Mississippi Senate to the Stennis Space Center Senior Leadership Team on the occasion of Stennis Space Center's Capitol Day on February 29, 2024, and our best wishes to the Center's leadership team and employees on this auspicious occasion.
Senator Thompson, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. President. Ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, it's hard to underscore just how important Stennis Space Center is, not just to the coast, but also to the entire state of Mississippi and to the nation as a function of NASA. Started in the 1960s, every rocket that has sent any astronaut to space has been tested at Stennis Space Center. The road to space truly runs through Mississippi. Mr. President, this time I ask that Senator Director John Bailey and astronaut Mr. Mark Vande Hei be recognized to address the Senate.
Director Bailey and astronaut Mark Vande Hei, you're recognized to address the Mississippi Senate.
Thank you. I am John Bailey, the Acting Center Director at John C. Stennis Space Center in Hancock County, Mississippi. And I just wanted to take a moment here to say thank you for your support for NASA and for John C. Stennis Space Center. You know, we're going back to the moon as a nation, and we're going to go there to stay this time. We're going to go there to learn and prepare us to go to Mars and beyond. And Stennis Space Center has played a critical role in the Apollo program, which did that in the 60s and in the 70s. And now the Artemis generation and the Artemis program is going to take us back to the moon. And we've played a critical role in that program to date, and we will continue to play a critical role in that program. And now, for the most exciting part here, I'm going to introduce NASA astronaut Mark Vande Hei. So it'll take me just a second here to read his introduction. He was born in Virginia, raised in New Jersey and Minnesota, has a Bachelor of Science in Physics from St. John's University and a Master of Science in Applied Physics from Stanford University. While an Army officer, he served 2 combat tours in Iraq, one as a combat engineer and the second as a space operations officer. Vande Hei also taught physics at the United States Military Academy, and he was selected by NASA in 2009 as an astronaut candidate. He has since had 2 space flights, most recently extending the record for the continuous U.S. space flight to 355 days. Mr. Vande Hei has spent 523 days in space and conducted 4 spacewalks, totaling more than 26 hours. So please welcome astronaut Vande Hei.
Very kind of you. Thank you. Well, everything I've heard about Mississippi hospitality is clearly true. Thanks for that. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today. For all of you that were involved in coordinating the weather we've gotten, thank you for that as well. Summer is coming, and I will take every bit of cool weather we get between now and then. As someone who's had the privilege of working in space for an extended period of time, I definitely feel a responsibility to share a bit of what that was like and how it changed my perspective. Being in space, working and looking back at the Earth at familiar places made space no longer feel like a faraway place. Looking at the horizon of the Earth and seeing how thin the atmosphere is relative to the size of the Earth made the blackness of space seem very close to the Earth's surface. Honestly, we are all in space. We're just protected from its vacuum by a thin layer of air molecules. The atmosphere that we call home, where we breathe, where we experience weather, where we live. We're not separate from space. When you look into a clear night sky, you get to see the rest of space, the moon, the stars, other planets. But we're there. We're traveling through space in this puddle of air, kind of like being in a convertible automobile with the top down, and the rest of space is just past the windshield. It's just a question of scale. We are on the verge of an exciting new era in human space exploration to explore that space. Got to look at my notes now. As we prepare to journey to Mars, NASA is going to put people back on the moon as part of the Artemis program. The first humans will launch around the moon and back as early as September of 2025. As early as September 2026, we're going to put boots back on the moon as a stepping stone to Mars. This is an exciting phase in space exploration, and it depends on the work that has already been done, and it will depend on the work that will continue to be done here in Mississippi. You should be proud knowing that your contributions and the people you represent here in Mississippi are powering spacecraft that will take people to the moon and beyond. Artemis 1, when it launched around the moon and back, it used rockets that were tested here in Mississippi by the people at NASA Stennis. They've already completed the testing for the rockets of Artemis missions 2, 3, and 4. And like I said, they are going to go ahead and continue that process to certify the production of all the rockets for future human exploration. The people in Mississippi are going to inspire the Artemis generation to write the next chapter in America's space history. And by doing that, we're going to motivate our young people to deepen their understanding of the universe and where we fit in it. Thank you for the contributions you've made leading us to where we are today. Thank you for your future support that will help so many here in Mississippi and beyond. As NASA explores the mysteries of the universe, it unites us, and we explore together for the benefit of all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark, and thank you, John. We appreciate your service to the country.
Thank you, Mr. President.
NASA is one of the, and the Stennis Space Center is one of the intellectual gems we have in Mississippi, which there are a number. So we're glad to have them here today, and we'll quickly move to the calendar. Senator Hobson passed and retained 1 through 4. Senator Harkins passes 5 through 14. Senator Kirby pass and retain items 15 through 21. Senator Fillingane, pass and retain 22. Senator Younger, pass and retain 23, 24, and 25. Senator Parker, pass and retain 26 through 33. Senator Branning, pass and retain 34 and 35. Senator Carter, pass and retain 36 through 38. Senator Barnett, pass and retain 39 to 41. Senator DeBar, passes and retain 42 through 48. Senator Michelle, pass and retain 49 and 50. Senator Fillingane, pass and retain 51 to 55. Senator Turner Ford, pass and retain 56. Senator Wiggins, pass and retain 57 through 61. Senator England, pass and retain 62 to 65. Senator Younger, pass and retain 66. Senator Parker, pass and retain 67, 68, 69, 70, 71. Senator Michelle, pass and retain 72. Senator Fillingane, pass and retain 73 to 76. Senator Blackwell is recognized. Senate, we're on 77 in the calendar.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to go to item number 77 and ask the title be read.
Mr. Clerk, please read the title.
House Bill number 539, Medicaid, provide for presumptive eligibility for pregnant women.
Make the usual motion.
Senator makes the usual motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it, and Mr. Chairman, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask you to recognize Senator Boyd to explain the bill.
Senator Boyd, you're recognized to explain the bill.
Yes, ma'am. We did.
Okay, Senator Boyd, you're recognized.
Thank you. Mr. President, I move to adopt the committee substitute in lieu of the original bill.
Senator moves to adopt the committee substitute in lieu of the original bill.
I'd ask to be recognized to explain the bill.
You're recognized to explain the bill.
The bill before you today I'm going to first of all start out by saying it does not introduce any eligibility category or expand coverage. What the bill does, it simply allows a pregnant woman to get to see a doctor earlier during her pregnancy. And so why is that important before us? Y'all can't hear. Sorry. What else? I'll repeat that again. The bill you have before us today is a presumptive eligibility bill. And what the bill does, it does not introduce any extra eligibility category in Medicaid, nor does it expand Medicaid coverage. What it simply does is it allows a pregnant woman to get into a doctor's office earlier. And why is that important? We are not a healthy state. Our state's preterm birth rates is the highest in the nation, and our infant and maternal mortality is also the highest in the country. According to all leading healthcare experts, the most critical mechanism to prevent adverse pregnancy outcomes and risk is to get adequate prenatal care. 2/3 of the births in this state are to our Medicaid mothers. What this bill does is it allows a pregnant woman whose net income is 194% or less of the federal poverty level to be presumed eligible for Medicaid, so they can go ahead and start receiving those services early in their pregnancy. What the bill proposes is that a qualified provider, whether they be from the health department, a federally qualified FQHC, or a doctor's office who has been trained and approved through Medicaid, would have the ability to presumptively designate a woman eligible for Medicaid when she presents pregnant and presents proof of income, and therefore it allows her to get into the doctor's office earlier while the Division of Medicaid is making that final determination. So presumptive eligibility, we have gotten estimates, would cost the state roughly $567,000. When you compare this to the $1 million it can cost us for just one preterm labor that happens, this is a very low cost and could definitely promote a cost-saving measure for the state. The bill allows the woman to receive care under presumed Medicaid eligibility for 60 days after their first doctor's visit. That should allow the woman time to make sure that she has her paperwork in and all of that through Medicaid. That is a simple explanation of the bill, and I'm happy to answer questions on the bill, Mr. President.
Questions on the bill? Questions on the bill. Senator Norwood, for what purpose, sir?
Introduction at the appropriate time, Mr. President.
Thank you. We'll come back to that, Senator Norwood. Let's finish on the bill. Any questions on the bill? Any questions on the bill? Senator Jordan? For what purpose, sir?
I have questions, sir.
For you for a question, Senator?
The question was, I think I may have heard it, but you said 60 days after pregnancy, the female is allowed to get services?
When her pregnancy, for 60 days after her pregnancy is confirmed, and she has presented documentation to, or she has presented information to the healthcare provider, she can get coverage for during those 60 days. This in turn will allow her 45 days is what it usually takes for Medicaid to process the paperwork. And so this window of time would allow her to get that paperwork signed and get that back to the healthcare provider.
So you think in that way, by allowing her to see doctors early, would prevent the loss of children during pregnancy?
Well, all of our leading healthcare experts believe that this definitely contributes to better outcomes. And since we have some of the worst maternal and infant mortality rates in the country, the health department has come out very strong supporting this legislation, and there have been a number of scholars that have, and medical experts that have delved into this, and they believe this is critical in helping us improve those rates and getting healthier mothers and healthier children.
Thank you, ma'am. Seems like it's a good bill. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Jordan. Senator Fillingame, for what purpose, sir?
For a question.
Were you for a question, Senator Boyd?
Yes.
Senator Fillingame is recognized for a question.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Senator Boyd. I'm for your bill. I just wanted to know the mechanics of if after that period of time she's presumptively eligible, but then if it's determined in fact that based on their evaluation that she did not qualify for those benefits, then what happens? Is she charged back the cost of those services that she's received under the presumptive eligibility?
Right now, we do not have a process that she's charged back for those costs, and simply because Senator Fillingame and other states that have looked at that, the cost of getting those small amounts of money back, because you're not talking about large amounts of money. This figure in here of the $567,000 would include, we believe, those costs that it could cost the state on that, and the cost of the return on investment of going after those dollars is simply not worth the staff that it would take to go after that.
Gotcha. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator Fillingame. Senator Hill, for what purpose?
I like to speak.
Questions on the bill? Questions on the bill. Senator Hill, you're recognized to speak on the bill.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, Senator Boyd, for your work on this bill. I had no intentions to speak, but when the question was raised by Senator Fillingame about going back after the funds if a person is deemed ineligible, and the answer was that they don't have the resources to do that, I'm just going to beg to differ with that, because I have a constituent whose children were on CHIPS, and then during COVID, the federal government said we can't kick anybody off Medicaid. So this man, whom I've known all my life, got a job, put his kids on insurance, did not use CHIPS, and at the end of that year, he started getting notices for Medicaid. And he's like, I didn't want my kids on Medicaid. So long story short, even though he got his kid on insurance, didn't re-sign up for Medicaid, did not use CHIPS, he got in contact, Medicaid contacted him and said, you have to pay back the managed care companies, I think it was $2,500 a kid, even though you didn't use Medicaid, you didn't sign up for it, and your kids were on insurance. I went through a hearing, a phone hearing appeal with this constituent, and his name is Brian Stockstill. I don't think he cares for me telling you this. Went through a hearing appeal on the phone with Medicaid, explained to them, showed them the email, showed them the insurance, that he did not sign his kids up for Medicaid, but they did not care. They told him he either pays back the $2,500 or they garnish his wages. So I just want to make sure that you all know that they will go after small amounts of money from working people who have gotten a job and have taken their kids off CHIPS and are trying to be responsible. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Hill. Questions on the bill? Questions on the bill. Senator, we're ready for your motion.
Mr. President, I would move to adopt the committee substitute.
We're on final passage, Senator.
I would move to adopt the committee sub and final, no, I'm sorry.
Morning roll.
Use of the morning roll call.
This is the morning roll call. Does anyone object to the procedure? Anyone wish to be recorded as voting no? Hill, no. Chisholm, no. McClendon, no. Anyone else? Anyone else? Seymour? No. Vote present. Anyone vote present? Seeing none, the bill passes. By use of the morning roll call, the ones voting no properly noted. Okay, we're back on the calendar. Senate, we're on 78. Senator Blackwell.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to go to item number 78, have the title read.
Mr. Clerk, please read the title.
House Bill number 970, Medicaid. Extend date of repeal is on the services and managed care provisions and the provider assessment provisions.
I make the usual motion.
Senator makes the usual motion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. The bill in front of you, House Bill 970, is the Medicaid tech bill from the House side. All they did was extend the repealer dates from 2024 to 2028. That's an explanation of the bill. I'll yield for questions.
Questions on the bill? Questions on the bill? Seeing none, we're ready for your motion, Senator.
Move for final passage by the use of the morning
Use of
roll
morning roll call has been requested. Anyone object to the procedure? Call is voting no. Chisholm, no. Hill, present. McClendon, no. Anyone else? Anyone else on present? Seeing none, bill passes. Thank you, Senator Blackwell. By use of the morning roll call with negatives as noted. Senator Polk, we're on item 79. Senator Polk. Pass and retain 79, 80, 81, 82, 83. Senator Tate. Senator Tate. Pass and retain 84 and 85. Senator Thompson.
Senator Norwood had an introduction. I don't know if they're still here.
Senator Thompson. Pass and retain 86 to 89. Senator Norwood, did you still have your introduction, sir?
Yes, Mr. President.
Please proceed.
This morning we have with us some young persons representing the Mississippi Black Women Roundtable and the Black Youth Votes Group here at the Capitol with us today on Youth Council Day, and I'd like for them to stand, and the Senate would make them feel welcome. Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator Barrett, for what purpose, sir?
Introduction, Mr. President.
Please proceed.
Ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, in the West Gallery, we have with us the 5th grade of Brookhaven Academy. They are with their teacher, Christy Smith. You guys will make them feel welcome.
Welcome to your Senate, and we'll go to Senator Chasnow. Pass and retain items 90 through 93. Senator Branning. Pass and retain 94 to 99. Senator Suber. Pass and retain numbers 100 through 102, 103. Senator Barrett. Senator Barrett. Pass and retain. Pass and retain 104. Senator Bryan. Senator Bryan. 105. Pass and retain 105 through 115. Okay, now announcements, Senate. We'll go to announcements. Senator Harkins, you're recognized for announcements, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. Finance will meet at 1:30 today in room 216.
1:30, Finance, Mr. Clerk. Senator Turner Ford for an announcement.
Yes, Mr. President. Subcommittee T of the Public Health and Welfare Committee will meet at 11 in room 409.
Thank you. Senator McCon.
Thank you, Mr. President. Judiciary A Subcommittee is actually set for 2:30 this afternoon. We're going to bump that to 2:45. It won't take long for that subcommittee.
2:45, Mr. Clerk. Senator Barnett.
Thank you, Mr. President. 2 announcements.
Please proceed.
First announcement, Mr. President, corrections will meet tomorrow right after adjournment in room 216. Corrections tomorrow right after adjournment in room 216. And also, Mr. President, Tuesday, starting about 5:30, I'm inviting everyone or reminding everyone to come down and get the greatest barbecue that you'll ever eat anywhere in the world at the farmer's market prepared by yours truly.
Thank you, Senator. And it's always good. I'll give you credit for that. It's always good. Senator Wiggins.
Reminder, Judiciary A will meet at 3 o'clock today, standing meeting, room 409. Thank you.
Judiciary A, Mr. Clerk. Senator DeBar, for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. President. As a reminder, Education will meet at 4 o'clock today in room 216.
4 o'clock, 216. Senator Suber.
Thank you, Mr. President. Reminder that Economic Workforce Development is at 4 o'clock and 4:09 today.
4 o'clock and 4:09. Senator England.
Nelson, Mr. President.
Please proceed.
Elections will meet today at 2 o'clock in room 210. I also have an announcement relating to elections to remind everyone that we have a primary on March 12th, and some of us have to vote absentee, and that the clerk's office should be open this Saturday to do that. So just wanted to remind everybody of that. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, and please vote, everyone, obviously. Senator Wiggins.
Sorry, announcement change. Judd A will be meeting in room 216 at 3 o'clock, 216.
216, Mr. Clerk. Senator Fillingham.
Thank you, Mr. President. Public Health Subcommittee F, I would like for us to meet at 11 o'clock, and we'll probably have to do it, looks like it may be room 407. That's Senators Johnson, Barnett, myself, and Senator McMahon.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Whaley for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a quick reminder, today at 1 o'clock in room 409, Senate Wildlife will have a meeting.
409, Mr. Clerk, Wildlife Issues. Senator Thompson for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Senate Ports and Marine Resources Committee will meet at 3:45 this afternoon in 409.
3:45. Senator Parker for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. President. I know it's on the extended calendar for next Tuesday, but AET will not meet next Tuesday.
AET will not meet next Tuesday, Mr. Clerk. Senator Boyd for an announcement.
Would like to remind everybody at 2:30 today, universities and colleges will meet in room 210.
2:30 today, Mr. Clerk. Senator Blunt.
The Gaming Committee will meet today at 3:30 in room 409. We have two bills to bring up.
409, Mr. Clerk. One moment. Is it open? One moment, Senator. Let me see if we've got another room for you. 1 second.
We'll just change it to 210.
Okay. Thank you, Senator Blunt. Senator Hobson.
Thank you, Mr. President. Appropriations will meet 10 minutes after recess in room 216.
216, Mr. Clerk. Okay. Any other announcements? Any other announcements? Mr. Clerk, you read committee meetings, please, sir.
Public Health Subcommittee under Senator Fillingham will meet in room 210 at 11 a.m. The Appropriations will meet in room 216, 10 minutes after recess. Public Health and Welfare Subcommittee T will meet at 11 a.m. in room 409. Wildlife, Fisheries, and Parks will meet at 1 p.m. in room 409. Finance will meet in room 216 at 1:30 p.m. Universities and colleges will meet in room 210 at 2:30 p.m. Judiciary Division A Civil A will meet at 2:45 p.m. in room 409. Judiciary Division A will meet at 3 p.m. in room 216. Ports and Marine Resources will meet 3:30 p.m. in room 409. Education will meet in room 216 at 4 p.m. Economic and Workforce Development will meet at 4 p.m. in room 409. Elections will meet in room 210 at 2 p.m. And Gaming will meet 3:30 p.m. in room 409. Wow. Okay, we got it.
Is that all of them, Senator? Good to go. Okay. Senator McCon.
Mr. President, for
continuity's sake, I'd like to move that Judiciary Subcommittee from room 409 to 216, as all members will be in the full committee meeting at 3. So from 409 to 216.
216, Mr. Clerk. Put it on the calendar there. Thank you. Okay, any other announcements? You have a busy day in front of you, Senate. Senator Polk.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move the Senate stand in recess until 5 p.m. today or until the last committee report is filed, at which time the Journal will reflect that we're adjourned until 9 a.m. tomorrow.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. We stand in recess.